How are the roads? Fine.
Yeah, it's
Is it snowing?
no, it's just like raining now.
Oh.
It's kind of warm.
Really? It was pretty cold earlier.
I know. But it seemed pretty nice out though. I just not like warmer than it was earlier. And
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Good. I got worried because I saw that it was supposed to snow, and I was like, oh man, well, obviously I wanted to have this conversation,
Yeah.
but I was like, I also didn't want you to, if the roads are bad, you to feel like,
Oh no, it's cool.
you know,
I appreciate
obligated
that,
to be
though.
here. Well, I'm glad it's not snowing. Are you going home tonight?
No,
No?
no, I'm staying with Ben.
Oh, cool.
And I think we're gonna go out when we're done with it.
Nice. Are you recording again tomorrow?
No, we finished today.
Really?
Yeah.
You start today and finish today?
Yeah.
What time do you start?
Not that early. 12 o'clock. Dude, 12 to 6. There's only 3 songs, but acoustic.
Is it just you and a guitar?
No, I did like 3 acoustic tracks for each, and then vocals. Jake had me record like 5 times, 5 takes, and line by line, so it was pretty slow, or like phrase by phrase.
Yeah.
So it's pretty tedious. And then I did electric guitar and some synth. I don't know how we got it done so quick. It's done.
Do you usually work that fast?
No,
No?
Oh, actually, that's not true. Charmer.
I was gonna say that's the one record that I kind of have some insight on, like
Yeah.
how it went.
Dude, same.
But that's because we were kind of I forget if we were like finishing up our record as that started,
you
or
were.
I think Charmer was like almost happening in the middle of, like, parts of Charmer were happening in the middle of us.
That's what I think.
recording.
I think I remember you guys being there. Well, or hearing about you guys being there.
Yeah,
so
I think
was
that
only
was
there
the
for
case.
a day.
Yeah,
Literally, like a few hours.
yeah. I'm pretty sure the whole thing got done in like days.
Charmer or yours? Charmer?
Charmer, definitely not ours.
I think Ben and Brianna spent a lot more time on it because I don't know. Do you want to talk about this on the thing?
We can talk about it.
Yeah, you talk about
Is
that?
your record that you're recording with Jake, is that like top secret right now?
No.
Okay.
No one knows about it just because I haven't.
Okay.
had the
I only
opportunity
ask
to
because
tell
usually
anyone.
I'll just like fade this in at some.
Oh,
like,
okay, cool.
Kind of.
No, that's not top secret.
Okay.
No, it's not. I don't. What do you say? I'm not gonna tweet.
What?
have
Oh
an
no, no. I just didn't.
I have an acoustic record
if,
coming
if
out.
that part is on
Oh,
the
yeah.
actual recording, I didn't want it to be the kind of thing where I was fucking you over by if it ends up being on part of the actual audio.
I appreciate that. No, you're okay.
I feel like the past like 4, maybe 5 people I've talked to have had like new records coming out.
Mm.
So I want to make sure I ask, like, hey, are we okay to talk about that? I don't want to like make the kind of thing where it's posted and it's like, fuck, like we weren't announcing anything about that until, some people care about that, some people obviously don't. But.
True.
All right,
Not
let's start from the beginning, man.
Yeah.
What like when and how did you get started playing music?
I always liked music, like as a hobby, even when I was young, like watching MTV and like music
Yeah.
videos and stuff. But then, I think I took like piano lessons,
Okay.
but that wasn't like creative or anything. My parents just made me, or strongly encouraged me to, because I wasn't doing anything else. And then
And you were how old when you took the
I
lessons?
was like in 4th and 5th grade. How old are you when you're like in 4th or 5th grade? You know,
I think you're like 10,
there you go. So
10 or 11.
yeah, so that I was doing that. But then like in middle school, my friends were just starting to play guitar and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I just wanted to sing. I didn't, but you couldn't really do that. You
Yeah.
can't.
So were you like one of those people that was just like enthralled with frontmen?
Yeah.
I feel like I meet a lot of people in
Yeah.
music that are just like, oh man, like I just like they like the whole music thing of it came second. They were just like, I just thought, like Axl Rose or like Kurt Cobain or whoever is just like so fucking cool.
Hmm. Here's who I liked. I liked rappers like from when I was very young. Like Puff Daddy, Mace.
Did you have
Biggie.
No Way Out?
Yeah, but here's the thing. I had an edited version, and that I had a lot of singles, CD
Yeah.
singles, because they were edited.
Dude, it's so crazy that singles aren't like a thing.
know.
At least singles like that aren't in the same way.
I'm gonna bring it back.
Dude, they were so sick. Like the special editions.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had some cool singles. Like I had the Mariah Carey like Honey single with the Bad Boy remix on it.
Yeah.
And I had like I had the I had a bunch of like Jay-Z singles and a bunch of Puff Daddy singles. Had a couple Mace singles. There were like some sick I had a single of the Puff Daddy Led Zeppelin mashup, the Come With Me from the Godzilla
From
soundtrack.
the Godzilla movie.
So sick. Dude,
Yeah.
I had a bunch of like super sick singles at the time.
Yeah, I had one that was Puff Daddy. It was all about the Benjamins, and then I had the Rob Zombie rock remix. Have you ever heard that? It was
Dude, it rings a bell, but I don't want to say that I've heard it.
it's worth. I mean, it's good.
I want to say, given like the era in which it came out, I think I would have had to, but I can't think of what it sounds like.
Very heavy. Very.
I'm looking it
very
up when
heavy.
we're done
Yeah,
doing
it's
this.
good. It's good. But yeah, so I wanted to be a frontman. I would like sing. I would like have music. Look up the lyrics on the internet. I was always like an internet kid.
Yeah.
And I would pull up the lyrics and like hold the remote and just like look at the lyrics and sing like along to the
Yeah.
song. I just want to be a front man, a singer. So, but you can't really do that. Like you can't. It's not easy to just like let people sing for.
I think it's hard to like. I would imagine most people who are just like career frontmen, like I feel like everyone has to have like an interesting story on how they. I mean, if they.
True.
I mean, just like your Fred Durst and like your Mark McGraths. Like, I know they're like strange examples, but like they don't do anything else.
Yeah.
How do they end up fronting bands where they're just like, man, that guy's fucking cool, dude. You got to put him somewhere, and he can't play an instrument.
Right. I think that's what it is. I think that's what. Like, yo, I have this friend.
Yeah, dude, it must be.
Yeah, and it's Mark McGrath. Right?
And then they become these like pop culture like sensations.
yeah.
That's such a crazy thing.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to be. But you can't do that. You have to put in legwork. So my parents got me a guitar. I don't even think I expressed interest in playing guitar, but
Yeah.
they got me one. And that was it. Like I would just write songs from the start. Like I wanted to learn guitar solely so I could write songs.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. So like I was in a ska band. That was my first band when I was in like 7th and 8th grade. And then after that I quit and I was in like what I considered like an indie band, but I don't know, it was garbage. It had
What
a
do you-
clean
wh-
guitar. That's why I thought it was
In
indie.
retrospect, what do you think it actually sounded like?
Dude, it was garbage. We had like 4 songs and they all sounded different. It was like almost jammy, like not good. So I was in that and I sang in both of those bands and then that was pretty much it. And then I started doing like, I think I did 1 or 2 acoustic shows.
Yeah.
I got into like, I had an uncle who was really, I say really into music, but he was on the internet too early on, and he was on message boards, and they would do these things where they would, one person would be assigned an artist, and they would just collect any like albums, bootlegs, live performances, anything they could find of that artist, burn it onto CDs, but as like data. You know how you used
Yeah.
to do that, so you could fit more on there.
Yeah.
So they would do that and then just mail them to a person, and then that person would burn them and then mail them to the next person on the list. So my uncle had like, you know, I say like the complete Beatles bootlegs, but this isn't like store-bought stuff. This is like 20 data discs of just like
What
anything.
a wild concept.
Yeah, so I mean Beatles, but also like Bob Dylan. That was the big one. So
Yeah.
from an early age, I had all of Bob Dylan's studio albums and whatever bootleg stuff was released and side projects. And so then I was like, well, I kind of know guitar, so like maybe I could do something like that.
And you liked it when you heard it.
What, Bob Dylan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But this wasn't that early. This was maybe 8th or 9th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I did. You didn't like him when you first heard it. No?
I try to think back when the first time I actually, like, I'm sure I heard Bob Dylan on like TV or
Yeah.
something like that, and like a casual thing, and probably didn't even think about it. But I think the first time I was probably like showed Bob Dylan, I probably was just like completely neutral on it.
Yeah.
Now I appreciate Bob Dylan for more of like his like quote unquote like presence, but he's not really I love the Beatles. I mean, most people do, but like Bob Dylan's music, I feel like is pretty specific. Like it doesn't. I don't want to say it doesn't do it for me because I do think that some of it's sick, but I'm not like a huge like Bob Dylan head, you know.
I think I am, and I think I was so. And I wanted to do that. Like I thought he was funny too. He had good lyrics. He was good at guitar. He had good serious lyrics, and he could be funny, and I liked that. So I started doing I did like 2 or 3 acoustic shows, and then I met Ben, and then Ben was at one of those shows.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if he offered to like play drums or what, but then from like then on it was just like me and Ben.
Yeah.
You know?
Were you ever someone who had any like stage fright or anything like that?
No, not really. No.
Because it seems like you just started playing music and then started playing shows without any.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's probably the kind of thing that younger kids, they want to start a band, they learn an instrument, and then they probably understand that the next natural thing to do is play a show. But I feel like it's like the hardest thing ever for young people that are starting to play music to just play a show.
Yeah.
Let alone a show where you said you were playing acoustically, which is just you and a guitar, which is probably the most like nerve-wracking thing that a young person can do. Like in that context,
I was probably nervous then. But like we had, so I was fortunate, and I think a lot of people in Scranton were fortunate that like a lot of my friends had older brothers who were in bands and could kind of, you know, you could just look at them, be like, all right, well, I'm gonna do what they're doing, and those people were like Tom May from the Menzingers, like his younger brother was the drummer of my first band.
Yeah.
So I would go over to their house and practice, and then see Tom's first band practicing, and that was pretty much like everyone who's in the Menzingers now. And then, like one other kid. So they were like good at it too, you know, like they went on to be successful, and I just wanted to be like them.
Yeah.
And so I just watched them. I would just watch them practice all the time. I would say I was going over to hang out with my friends, and I would just watch them practice, and then I was like, all right, I want to do that. So I wasn't nervous. I was excited to impress people, and I like the attention, you know.
Is that like a theme? Do you typically like attention, or is it just that? Is it just that context?
No, it really just within music really.
Yeah.
At work, I don't like attention. Yeah. You know, no, just music.
Because I feel like I talk to a lot of people, like whether it's like on here or just like casually talking to people that play in bands and stuff, but it definitely seems like a lot of people. I mean, not everyone, but a lot of people in music will admit to liking to being the center of attention, or at least having some sort of eyes on them in the context of music. But I think a lot of people in other aspects of their life don't want that same attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you meet people that are they just like attention no matter any way they can get it.
I feel like that's how a lot of these rappers are that I play show. They just want attention, and rap is just a means for them to get to their ultimate goal, which is eyes on them.
Yeah.
And,
So do you think that just the art of it is just completely secondary? They're just like, yeah, it's just like
people,
part of it.
To some people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100, 300%. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a wild concept to me.
Yeah.
All right. So so you and Ben started playing. So were you and Ben the founding members of Tiger's Jaw?
Yeah. We had like fill-in. I mean, at the time we didn't think they were fill-in members, but 2 other kids who were just less committed.
Yeah.
But it was me and Ben. Once me and Ben met, we were like every day practicing.
Yeah.
Every day. With so many songs, writing so many songs every day.
Yeah. So how do you think that, like, when you guys started it, were you like, oh man, this is it, like these are good songs?
Yeah.
Because you said prior to that you weren't really feeling your first
No.
indie band.
I wasn't in the ska band. I wasn't really feeling that either.
Well, you said in the same sentence you pretty much told me you quit that band, so I assumed you weren't really feeling that either.
True. But they got a singer. They got a new singer. That's why I quit that band. Because I wasn't the singer anymore. And it ended up being Greg from the Menzingers. So it's probably a good call.
That band didn't end up being the Menzingers, did it?
No. No, it was Bob and the Saggets. They ended up becoming the Menzingers.
Oh, I was gonna say, maybe I knew that.
Yeah. But I think we thought that was it. Like we were like, yeah, this is so good.
That's sick. Do you feel that way now?
But I don't think I was totally wrong. It was definitely the best thing that I had done up until that point, so I was proud of it.
Yeah.
And some of those songs are still played today at Tiger Shaw shows, you know?
Yeah, true.
So some people like them, you know, the crowd.
Yeah. I mean, what do you in your mind, what is the pinnacle of Tiger Shaw's music?
I don't, to be honest, I don't know. It might be Charmer. Do you mean in terms of like albums or years or like?
I guess any like whatever you. I mean, I guess what do you think is like? I mean, I'm sure it's a difficult question to answer because you don't want to come off like it's like, well, obviously when I was there was the best time, but it's the kind of thing where like I feel like everyone that's involved will just know that that's not the way you're. Like, I don't think anyone's mind works that way that's involved in your guys' group.
True. And you're right. I think we're all very, very conscious of each other's feelings.
Yeah.
Very feeling-oriented friend group. But I think, to be honest, early on, when Ben and I first started recording on, like, a 4-track or an 8-track, that was all I wanted Tiger's Jaw to be. Not necessarily just me and Ben, but that like lo-fi, like just making songs up, practicing like maybe for a few days, and then just recording them at home.
Yeah.
I thought that was like it. That was all I aspired. Like.
Yeah. So you like the spontaneity of it.
Yeah, and I like the recording aspect of it too. Like I just liked having that. Like, you know, we can record our own music now, like, and put this out, and like making, like, I like making stuff, you know, having something to burn onto a CD and show people. So I think that was one of the high points, but there's also like, musically, I think Charmer was the closest thing to what I wanted Tiger Shaw to sound like. Mm-hmm. But honestly, the pinnacle is probably right now where you have Ben and Brianna in it, and they're so like, they're just so, their chemistry is so good, and behind the scenes they're just on the same page.
Yeah.
So that band has focus now, you know, and they don't have to worry about petty stuff. Like again, like I think you and Brianna talked about it, but like, you know, deciding what shows to play or deciding what tours to do, stuff like that. They don't really have to stress about that now, and that band has its own identity, like a solid identity. So it might be right now. It might be when that next album comes out, that might be their pinnacle. But for me, yeah, early on.
Yeah. So when you were saying how like you like the spontaneity and just like creating music, kind of just writing it, recording it shortly after, and just having it. Do you still feel that way about music in general? Like, is that still kind of your preferred way of doing it?
I do try and put a lot of thought, because right now I'm really only writing lyrics. I'm doing like some acoustic stuff and working on like some full band stuff, but with Wicca Phase, like, people are sending me these beats most of the time, so all I have to focus on is the lyrics and recording vocals. So it's really easy for me to just write real quick and then go in and record a song and then post it online, and that's like my new single. But I'm trying, and I was doing that for a little bit, but now I'm trying to take a lot more time and treat it more like a band.
Yeah.
You know, deliberate and
Do you just think that's for the sake of the music itself, or do you just think that's Yeah,
if I could write like what I thought were really good lyrics in like 15 minutes, I would record them. I would spend the next 15 minutes recording them, and then I'd post it, and that would be it. You know, and then who cares? Like, the world can have that song. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
But you're trying to take more time on it?
Yeah. I want it to be better.
I'm so slow with that shit.
I just do it a lot.
Yeah. But you write it like you seem to write music just do you write full songs? Is that typically the way you do it, or like?
Band songs?
Yeah.
No, mostly just chords. So here's the thing. Remember when I said that like I learned guitar just so I could write songs?
Yeah.
I didn't really progress. Like once I learned how to like play chords, I was like, okay, I'm good on guitar then, and I never really progressed past that. So I'm not very good at it. So I can write a few verses, but if a band was just to play what I brought to the table, it probably wouldn't be that good. You would need like a band there to, come up with cool leads and like kind of put it together.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like I am capable of writing full songs, but I'm not super good at guitar either. Like I talked about this on here with someone else, but if the chords are if the chords aren't easy for me to play, I'm just like, I think I'm capable of playing more complex chords, but if it's not like effortless to play, I just don't want to bother with it.
Same.
So like I'll usually write like a chorus and a verse, or even just like one part, or maybe like 3 parts max, and then like I'd rather just like hash them out with a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like just easier for me.
I am the same way. And with Wicca Phase, like the songs are done. The music is done to the song.
Yeah. That's so wild. So like for that kind of music, is it like more difficult to write vocal melodies and stuff like that?
Depends. You just have to get the right producers, or you need to tell producers what type of beat you want. So whether that's like tempo, or I always say like I want it to be in a minor key.
Yeah.
And I want those like 808s really loud.
Yeah.
And I want it like clean sounding. And if a producer can like somehow interpret what I'm saying, it's really easy to write lyrics. And I forget what the question was. What were we talking about? I was going somewhere with that.
Just like I was just asking, how is it more difficult to form vocal melodies and stuff?
No, it's not, because as long as like they're using like a pretty simple sample or like something that just musically makes sense.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's easy. Yeah. I don't have a hard time with it at all. I come up with 100 different melodies for every song, and it's just figuring out what to use and what not to use and what can flow into the next part.
Yeah.
Because you have it. I've learned that you have it really easy by just getting the music to song. So you have to spend the time to make the lyrics good and the delivery good.
Yeah. So do you just kind of sit there and play it over and over again, or you just record like 100 things until you're just like?
I pace back and forth. I just listen to it. I just pace back and forth, and then I force myself to just write on my phone.
Yeah.
As many lines as possible until like my head hurts, and then I take a break, and then maybe I'll go back the next day. Or sometimes I just won't even listen to the music, and I'll once it's in my head, I'll try to write without it. Yeah, it's really weird.
Dude, I never write lyrics until I absolutely have to. It's really bad. Like I will, my phone will just have notes of just like different like sentences that like or even just like a word or a phrase or anything that I'm just like, oh, that's cool,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even 90% of that shit I will never use for any song or anything like that. Like, because I'll be writing lyrics for something and I wait until basically I have to record the vocals for it before I write the lyrics, and then I have like, I don't know, half an hour or something I have to write it all.
That's what I was gonna say. How soon? How much time do you leave yourself?
Dude, I mean, when we've recorded like the LPs with Will, like I'll try to make it easier for him and everyone else and not to waste anyone's time. I'll try to record it or I'll try to write the lyrics like at least a day ahead of, like if I know what song I have to record the next day, I'll try to write it like the night before. But there's definitely been times when it's been like, yo, are you gonna be ready to do the vocals in like 45 minutes? And I'm like, yeah. And I gotta write a whole song. But I don't know. Are lyrics for you more of like, I know some people there's like, yeah, I mean, I'm more of like a music person, but like, is your lyrical content super like, do you really think long and hard about it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially now because it's really all I'm focusing on.
True.
But it's all I wanted to focus on. Yeah, music is such a pain.
Yeah.
The whole music aspect of it to me is such a pain. Like, I just don't want to deal with it. And I never really did. Like, you know, once Ben started writing more Tiger Straw songs, I was like, awesome. Like,
Really?
yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I mean, I talked to Ben and Brianna both about this, but as someone who is not in the band anymore, like, what was that entire thing like on your end of it? Because obviously they are both just like the band is still those two, and then like, you know, obviously there's three people who are not in the band who I have not talked to. So like, what was the whole thing? And like, it's not like I expected everyone to be like, "Oh man, it was bad," you know, it was real bad. But just like from the opposite side of the fence, like what was the entire departure like?
I mean, I think for me it was long. I once we started playing a lot more shows, and I would say like the marker like for when this started happening for me was like when we went on tour. We did like our first actual tour, and it was with Title Fight, and they were like a different. They were just like a different type of band. I didn't know what like pop punk or anything or what the hardcore scene was like or anything like that. I wanted to be just like quote unquote indie band, you know, just like from the basement, from the garage, like what I didn't even want to tour. So
Not at all.
once the van left, then I'd be like, oh, freedom. Like, I can't believe I'm able to do this.
Yeah.
And, you know, just hang with my friends. But it didn't really click with me that, like, well, this is how other people hear your music, you know, and stuff like that. And so with the Title Fight thing, like, that was the start where we didn't do so hot on that tour. And I think when we came back and we were kind of like, well, maybe we need to go to a studio and record songs, and maybe we need to kind of start playing with bands, you know, that people are going to actually go and see, you know, like Title Fight or something like that, because they had big followings and stuff like that. So from that point, like, I think that's when the band started taking a departure from what I wanted, and that was musically mostly. I think we started writing more like parts, like, you know what I mean, like we started writing parts for songs that, you know, like, here's the heavy part, you know, and then here's the quiet part and stuff like that. So that wasn't really much fun for me, but and that never really stopped because we got Tiger Straw was successful doing that, like following that path. Like after that Title Fight tour, Run for Cover wanted to sign us and stuff. So that means like more shows like that, and you know, you're kind of being grouped in with pop punk bands and stuff like that. And Run for Cover is different now, where I feel like I don't know what genre they're not genre specific, but I think
they're a little more eclectic. They got more like pretty widespread of genres, I guess.
So, and I don't think they were like that. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like in 2008, I don't think they were really like.
No, I think at that time it was definitely more less broad at the very least.
So I didn't really see how we fit in, but still, like, it was working, and we were getting show offers and tour offers and stuff, which was cool. But so then I think we did we did a few EPs. We did like the self-titled album was recorded in a studio, and it sounds like shit. Like, and that shouldn't come off as a surprise to anyone. I think, like, objectively, it's too auto-tuned, and like we had no sense of like how to exert our influence and say like, oh wait, don't auto-tune those vocals, you know, like don't make it sound so perfect. So that album kind of bummed me out.
Did it bum you out at the time, or just like later on?
At the time, it kind of. I mean, maybe within the first month, I was like, "Whoa, this sounds so clean and professional." But shortly after, it wasn't something I was super proud of. And because it wasn't how I envisioned those songs sounding. And that's like the story of it. Like things weren't really materializing the way I had hoped. When I would try and write songs and then present them, like I just wasn't able to articulate like what people should be doing or what our guitars should sound like or anything like that. So I don't know, that bummed me out a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I would have a song in my head that was pretty like low key and like and then it would turn into like an anthem almost, you know? And that's because I just wasn't able to express what everyone should be doing.
Right.
And that really bummed me out. So then I wasn't really liking the songs anymore. And instead of, I'm not saying that I should have done this, but one thing I could have done looking back was address it.
Yeah.
Just been like, hey, listen, this isn't, I think we need to refocus on how we're writing songs, recording songs, and even to a larger extent, who we're playing shows with, the types of show we play, how often we play shows.
Right.
Stuff like that. It's all tied together, and I think it's all tied in within that genre and within that scene. No offense or anything.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're in that scene too. But it just wasn't for me, and I was getting frustrated that I wasn't able to make the songs that I wanted to make. And, and I was getting frustrated that more people were coming to the shows and loved those old songs. Because I was like, no, these...
Do you get tired of old shit really fast?
Yeah.
Me too. It's bad. I feel like it's hard to be. I think as when people are sort of maybe prolific isn't the word I want to use, but someone who like always wants to keep writing new stuff rather than just like, oh shit, like we put out a record 2 years ago, like we have to start writing another one. I've always just like written music as it came to me. So I think that's just part of it. Like like playing a song that's 2 years old is not as fun as like, when you first record the record, you're like, oh man, I can't wait to play these fuckers live. Mm-hmm. But then like after a year goes by or even 2 years and you play the song 100 times, you're like, I mean, the songs are good, but I just want to play this new shit.
Mm-hmm. That's how I am too, 100%. Yeah. And we weren't practicing nearly enough. We never practiced. Hydrotron never practiced at the time. Like,
why is that? Just school and shit?
Yeah. Because, I mean, Brianna was in Philly. I think Pat might have been in Philly at the time. Dennis was for a little bit. Me and Ben lived home, but we were both in school. I finished school a little bit earlier than Ben did, like college. And, yeah, so we weren't really practicing. But, nothing was ever addressed. We just kind of went. And then, I mean, I specifically remember, like, maybe 2 or 3 months before I left, we did a weekend, or, like, I think we did, like, 4 or 5 days with the Title Fight. And the shows were big, but, like, I could tell that everyone in the band was kind of on edge. I felt like there was a divide in the band.
Yeah.
And Brianna talked about this, too. Like, this isn't how it always was, but I felt like Ben and Brianna were usually on the same page.
Yeah.
And then Pat and Dennis were usually on the same page. And usually they were opposite pages. Yeah. And I was somewhere in the middle, depending on what was easiest for me. Like, whatever benefited me the most. But I got annoyed with it. I felt like those little tensions like kept making their way to the surface. And
And you being in the middle didn't want to be the person who the tiebreaker always fell on.
True. At the same time, I also thought like I kind of felt responsible because like I started that band, So like, do I have more responsibility to settle these issues? And I just didn't want that. But we did those shows with the Title Fight, and yeah, they were pretty tough. I remember we stopped a few of our sets because I just stopped playing early, like after 1 or 2 songs, because like it was a little too wild, and we were playing smaller venues. And I remember Pat got really mad. Like the drummer would always be the one to step out from behind the drums and like yell at people, and then just be like, "All right, we're done." Or Dennis would be like, "All right, we're done," or I'd be like, "We're done." And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
it's too stressful. It's not fun. And I knew we had a full tour coming up and like an album right after that. And I just couldn't see myself like making out of that tour alive.
Yeah.
So after those shows, yeah, I kind of made up my mind. I remember telling my girlfriend, at the time was still my girlfriend, that we were going to a show someplace outside of Philly. And I was like, I think this is going to be one of my last Tiger Shaw shows. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to leave. And she doesn't care. She doesn't really care about music. And she doesn't.
Like any music or just like
Not really.
live music?
She doesn't even really listen to that much music. Like, it just doesn't really interest her, you know? Which is cool. I like that. And yeah, we don't talk about music. She doesn't really listen to much. But yeah, I told her. And then I was going to quit. I knew specifically the show I was going to quit. And then the day before, Dennis called me and was like, hey, after tomorrow's show, me and Pat are quitting. And I was like, oh, I'm quitting tomorrow after that. Like, you know, like, shit. So that's how it happened. I mean, but I don't know that, like who knows what would have happened if we stayed in that band. You know, I think it would have been worse. I think we'd probably hate each other.
Yeah. I feel like it worked out the best that it possibly could. But like what was that conversation like?
Very awkward. I backed out so hard. I remember Dennis. It was after the show we packed up, and
so it occurred at the show.
After the show though, like everyone had left, like except for the band, and me and Dennis and Pat were like, all right, we have to do this. So one of us was like, yo, Ben and Brianna, can we talk to you for a second? I think I said that, and then I just looked at Dennis and made Dennis say that we didn't want to be in the band anymore.
Did you guys talk about that after? Like, damn, dude, you really threw me under.
No. Sorry, Dennis, if you're listening. I think about that all the time because I feel pretty bad about it. But yeah, that's how it happened. And obviously, it was very upsetting to. It was obviously upsetting for Ben and Brianna. It was upsetting for us to see their reaction. I'm sure, you know. But I feel it worked itself out pretty quick. Like within a week, we all kind of determined that we were cool with them continuing, and they decided that they wanted to move on. And it was easy.
Yeah. That was before Charmer was recorded though, right?
Yeah, so we still had I had songs written. I had maybe 5 or 6 songs written. So, and I wanted to record on the album. Especially if I didn't have to do anything after, you know, like why not? So, yeah, so they recorded it, but I was away for work. I was in Florida for like a work trip, and I ended up having so stupid. The president of our company, I worked for like a college, and the online college, and the president was like this fitness dude who wanted to ride his bike to Florida, and just I don't know. We would record it, post it on YouTube. I don't really know. I don't know what the goal was. He was just like, I want to do this, and I want the company to pay for it. And then I had to drive his bike back from Florida to Pennsylvania in a van.
So did you fly to Florida?
Yeah, I flew to Florida, but then I had to drive his.
He couldn't fly his fucking bike back to Pennsylvania?
No.
Why?
I don't know. So I missed like 3 days of recording because I didn't know that I would be traveling.
Yeah.
And then I was sick the day I went to record it.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, like the day before you're sick when you're like, oh, something's off and I'm depressed and something's not right. I was like that. And I recorded, you know, I think I finished it in like 5 or 6 hours, like my parts. And I like that album. I think it's pretty good. I wrote some of the lyrics, though, like your style, like hour before. Not all of them, but some of them.
I mean, I could be wrong because that's kind of the only way I've ever done it, but I feel like doing it under pressure like that can yield some pretty good results.
Yeah, it can. I think there's some good lines on there that I wrote where I would have, if I had tried to like put too much thought into it,
Yeah.
I wouldn't think they were any good. But now I listen, and I'm like, oh, that was pretty. And I don't know where that came from, but that was pretty
Yeah.
good.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll be playing guitar and I'll be like working out a melody, and you know how you just kind of just like audible like bullshit,
Mhm.
and then you ever just have it just like form words,
Yeah.
and then you sing them a couple times, you're like, oh shit, those words that's like a sentence that makes sense, but
Yeah.
like you weren't even thinking about that like
Uh-huh.
consciously at all.
And it's not even a sentence you would say, like
No.
a phrase you would say or something. You know? Yeah.
That's a bizarre thing. I don't understand how that happens.
I don't either. That's what I look for. That's like the most elusive thing. That's what
Yeah.
I'm always like searching for, like those weird phrases, you know, that just come to you.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, your lyrics are written for you. But whatever. I wouldn't think yours were written that quick.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like I definitely feel like you were saying you like the lyrics on Charmer, and like I like the lyrics on Charmer too, but like I don't often look back at my lyrics and think like I should have worked harder on that. Like there's definitely things here and there I'm like like is that what I should have said? But like it's maybe 2 lines out of hundreds, I guess.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like lyrics are definitely the kind of thing I always will listen back to records and be like, oh, I wish we would have fucking done this differently or this differently. But it's rarely a lyrical thing. But
Yeah. I a lot of times I do wish I could go back and rewrite lyrics.
really?
Yeah, and with Wicca Phase, sometimes I do, and I'll just release it as like part 2 of the song. I'll just use the same beat and use the same melody, but rewrite lyrics.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's not really a luxury you have if you're a band,
Yeah.
you know, because you don't have like that output, but whatever.
Have you like see, I mean I've seen Tiger's Jaw play on some pretty like mixed bills with like hardcore bands and stuff like that. Did you ever like doing that?
Never.
Never?
Never. And I never liked hardcore. I liked Trapped Under Ice, but I didn't like hardcore. I just liked Trapped Under Ice.
What about
I
it?
don't know. The lyrics were really good. Justice had like really good, and I thought his lyrics were like better than other hardcore lyrics. I don't know. I don't know.
I think he's a genius.
Yeah, I think
He's like a weird.
Too.
I feel like that whole. I mean, I talked to him on here, and like that whole group of people is like a weird, just collection of like strange savants.
I know. His lyrics are so good. We have the same birthday too. Me and
Really?
Justice, yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever played in hardcore bands?
Bad Seed?
Did you play on like the recording, or did you play shows with them?
I played on the recording, but I think Seba re-recorded the bass. I played bass, and I think he re-recorded it when I was away.
So how did that happen with you recording in that band?
Me and Ben wanted to start a hardcore band. So we asked Seba to be in it. And Seba had like all these songs written.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah. And he had 4 songs, and he was like, what does Shane sing?
You and Ben Walsh?
Yeah.
So what the hell happened? Like how did
We recorded the demo, and then we went on vacation, me and Ben. And then we saw that the demo was posted online, but the personnel was different.
who the hell is responsible for such a
I think
thing?
it was Seba. So
I don't think I ever knew that. I knew that like I knew that maybe one or maybe I knew that both of you guys played on it on the demo, but I don't think I knew that you guys like started the band.
yeah, we had practiced in my grandmother's basement. Yeah, we just wanted to be in a hardcore band, just see what it was like.
That's
We
great.
knew we could
So how do you feel about that band becoming the thing that it became?
I was mad for
Like
a while.
this weird. It became like this weird, like not like a huge success, but it became like a weird hardcore, like enigma almost.
I wish I was still in it, or wish that I saw it through. The other day, there's a rapper named Antoine. He's pretty popular now.
Yeah.
I think he's friends with like Justice and stuff. But he followed me on Instagram, and I like was like a nerd about it. Like I was so excited, and I asked Shane Moran. I was like, do you like Antoine? Like he just followed me on Instagram, and he was like, yeah, tell him you were in Bad Seed. So I messaged him and I was like, I don't know if this means anything to you, but Shane Moran told me to tell you that I was in bad seed. And he was like, holy fuck, that means so much to me. And I was like, whoa, that carries weight? Like, what? Yeah, it was. I kind of wish I was in it. I was asked to be an Angel Dust too when they were first starting, and I didn't think it was real.
Like to do what?
Guitar, sing. I don't think to sing as much, but guitar and write songs.
Yeah.
Nick Heitman asked me.
You just didn't want to do it?
I didn't think it was real. I didn't think that Nick Heitman knew how to play an instrument.
And he
was
asked
like,
you to do it?
Yeah, and he was like, and Justice is going to sing. And I was like, Justice isn't going to sing. Like, he's in Trapped Under Ice. Like, why would he need to start?
Do you like Angel Dust?
I love Angel Dust.
Dude, they're...
Do you not like Angel Dust?
No, I love them.
Okay.
I love them. But they're like just one of those, like I said, that whole group of people is an anomaly to me.
It's perfect. I think that band has everything down perfect. Their aesthetic, like their videos, their album art, their sound.
I agree.
The production of their, man, Angel Dust. Top 5 right now. Love them.
So,
love Angel Dust.
Do you regret not joining Angel Dust?
Yeah, more than I'm sad about being kicked out of Bad Seed. I regret because that was my choice. That was my dumb choice to turn down Angel Dust.
Did you just kind of like laugh it off? Like, yeah, okay, like yeah, I'll be in that band.
Yeah, because Nick would always talk about starting bands, and we only knew him as like the kid who put out records, like not as
Yeah.
a musician. So I was like, this isn't a real thing, and it's in Baltimore. Like, I'm not gonna drive down to Baltimore to practice for this fake band. Justice is gonna sing for. Like, yeah, right, he's gonna sing for this band.
You should hit him up and try to rejoin. I think.
I hit him. I need to bite my tongue there, but I should do that. I did ask Justice to sing on a Wicca Phase song. I asked him last week. I just want to find the right one. He kind of seemed all right with it. He was like, maybe. He's like, I'll try it.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's kind of like not a style that everyone's used to
I know.
recording in. You know what I mean?
I know.
What? I mean, I don't want to put a genre on it or anything, but like, what like scene is would you consider Wicca Phase a part of?
The larger scene is just like whatever this underground like internet rap scene is.
Yeah.
Like we jokingly call it emotional trap. But I think that's not a joke anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I think it's people singing over like rap beats, trap beats, sad.
So
Minor sounding beats.
Do you listen to a lot of music like in that vein, or do you just like creating it?
Yeah, I don't really listen to that much. I didn't know of anyone else who was doing it when I started. And when I started, I just wanted to do, again, I just wanted like a project where I could just sing.
Yeah.
So I thought I always liked electronic music too. And like rap was like the first thing I liked. So I thought like, all right, I'll do like keyboard loops or something and like just record those and then sing. And then eventually I kind of figured out what I needed to do. Like, all right, well, I'm not really that great at this. Other people are much better at making beats, and that's all they do. And then through Tumblr, I met people, and through Twitter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like singing. Some people are more like rap based.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is though. I don't think it's like anything that we really had, anything that I could point to like 10 years ago that was around.
Oh, definitely.
I think it's new. I really do think it's
I think it's completely new.
It's kind of like punk and kind of like hardcore in the way the scenes are built and like structured, but I don't know. The music isn't. It's really weird. I don't know if it's just because, it's easier to record now. It's easier to make beats, so there's more people doing it. I don't know.
Like,
But I don't really listen to that. No, I don't listen to that many people in that genre, really.
Really?
Yeah. But even when I was doing Tiger's Jaw, I don't listen to any band that we played with that would,
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, like, given, like, all right, so Wicca phase is obviously a thing that like coming like a lot of people know you from being in Tiger's Jaw, and then so people might come to Wicca phase, which is obviously something completely different from that. Like, and I've seen Wicca phase play live, and I've seen Tiger's Jaw play live, and I think even like your lyrical content is definitely sort of like its own thing. It's like a unique style. Like, how do you feel about people being like maybe thinking that the things you do are like weird or unusual, being like, oh, the like Wicca phase, that's what the fuck is that? Or like your lyrics, some of your lyrics in Tiger's Jaw just being like, what the hell does that mean?
The Tiger's Jaw stuff I liked at the time because I didn't think there was enough weirdness like in that scene, you know?
Yeah.
So I liked it, and it was like, you know, I would do that intentionally. I think I would try and be provocative, and it was stupid. A lot of times it fell so flat.
You think so?
Yeah, a lot. Not every time. I think Charmer is the best example of where it didn't fall flat. I think Charmer was. I think. I'm just saying.
I would agree
feel
with
pretty
you.
good about those lyrics, and I'm not being cocky or anything. I'll tell you exactly what songs I hate and that I wrote that have bad lyrics. But I always try to like that. But with Wicca phase, I mean, maybe at first I did see the appeal of like shocking people,
Yeah.
like of making such a departure from one thing and kind of like forcing people to listen to this new thing that at the time wasn't all that great and wasn't fully formed and could have gone in a million different directions. So I could see why at the time people would be like, this is so weird. Now, with my last album and definitely with what I'm working on now, like Wicca phase stuff, I don't think people would have a hard time if they just found out that I was in Tiger's Jaw, that I'm the person from Tiger's Jaw, and they heard my last album or what I'm working on now. I think they'd be like, oh, that made sense.
Yeah.
It's the music's a little bit different, but I toned down the weirdness and kind of figured out how to, I don't know. Nothing has to be for shock value. And you don't need to, just be real and just be me. And I don't know.
Well, I mean, people that know you from Tiger's Jaw and hear Wicca phase, they might be like, this is unusual.
Yeah.
But like, do you get any of that from the scene, like you said, the like emotional trap scene? Like, do people hear your stuff and think it's unusual within that context, or is it just kind of like?
I think so. Yeah, I think they do. I don't see it as much. I see it. I don't see it. So here's the difference. If I go and look at like one of my songs on YouTube or something like that, because like within like this, maybe it's like this in every scene, but there's in this like rap scene, there's all these people who it seems like they're, instead of being in a band or like being a rapper or something, their passion is ripping MP3s like and putting them on YouTube, right? And that's just it. That's like their thing.
Passion.
And they get so popular from it, they'll have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, right? And and that's what they do. And so people follow them because that's like a good resource to hear new music, right? And when my music gets posted after rap stuff, then you look at the comments and people are like, what the fuck is this? A lot of people will say that. I did this podcast and like, it was a podcast and it was like a live performance type thing.
Yeah.
For this very like, when I went back, I noticed that it was all like very old school hip hop style. Like people who are like new artists, but doing that like real hip hop stuff. So like that's who the fans of this channel were there to see. And then when mine got posted, man, it had so many downvotes, so many dislikes, so many thumbs downs, so many awful comments.
Are you sensitive to that kind of thing?
Not really.
No?
It hurts a little bit more when it does come from the rap thing because that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I kind of need like approval here. You know, but if you're just gonna come at me on Twitter and be like, "Why did you leave Tiger's Jaw? Like, Wicca Face sucks. You should have stayed." Like,
Do you get a lot of that?
yeah, I do get a lot of that, but that's stupid. I don't. That doesn't bother me at
Yeah.
all because I'm just like, well, you don't get it then.
Yeah.
And you probably think that the Sun is still a good song or something like that. You know, like, I'm not stressing it. You probably still like I Saw Water. So, no, it's from the other half, and that I don't get it as much. And I'm surprised actually at how well received I've been by some people.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of like rappers and stuff that I wouldn't expect to ever like me, and if they hated me, I would get it 100%. I would totally understand. And some of them have been like, hey, I know exactly who you are, and I like your music, or they've put me on and promoted my music. Like, that is the coolest thing to me.
That's sick, man.
But there is some backlash. Yeah, obviously.
I mean, it's good that you're not like super sensitive to it, because it seems like even at your most sensitive to negative shit, like you're definitely not, don't seem to be, you're not changing anything.
Yeah.
Like you're not altering the way that you make music based on what other people want
Exactly.
from you. And I feel like that's from an outside observer, that's really not, I don't think that's ever been your way.
I said exactly, like as if like I'm like, yeah, you nailed exactly what I'm about. I didn't mean that like that. Thank you is what I should have said. Yeah, I should have said thank you. But yeah, I don't know.
That's okay.
And like I have peers like in this scene,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't if I was awful. So
Yeah.
I can't be that bad, right?
Yeah.
You know? And they're popular, so you know, I don't know.
But you like what you're doing? You like your like you are happy with the way things are going?
Yeah, for now. I see it as temporary.
Yeah.
One of the good things I like about it being like a solo thing is that I can bail at any time.
Do you think, like, are you like, I definitely know certain people that are definitely, without a doubt in my mind, like lifelong creators, more than likely of music. Like, Justice strikes me as a person who's, I can't see him not making music. Like, I think he'll be an older guy that's just like, just plays music in one context or another. But like, there's definitely other people I know that like once they're 30 or 30, you know, once they get a little older and whatever they're doing kind of like fizzles out, maybe like they're just going to be like, all right, well, I'll just do regular shit.
I don't see myself. No, I'm gonna be writing songs until I die, and yeah, I feel like I'm so far from writing the best song that I could write. I'm years away from it.
Dude, that's good, because I feel like there's people that just like will write like a song that people really like when they're like 23 maybe, and they're just like, yeah, that's the best song. I'm not gonna write a better song. And those are the people that you see like playing like 20 years after the fact, and they'll be playing a show, and like, you know, their encore is like the song that they wrote when they're 23, because they're like, yeah, I mean, people like that song. Like, we're gonna play that one last.
Yeah.
People are gonna like probably shout that one song the entire show. And then that's got to be such a fucking wild disposition, especially because some people seem to be fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, yeah, I made money off of it, so that's got to suck so bad.
I know.
So I don't know. It's good.
You're right.
I would like to think the same way. Like, you know, I'm not currently like, I have music written. It's not recorded, but I'm not like in an active band or anything like that. But I also think I can't imagine just like selling all my gear and just being like, I don't know, the band thing didn't work for me.
Yeah, I can't see that either. That would be a bad, like that would be a sad day. That would have to be like, I'd have to hit rock bottom or something for, you know, I don't know what would have to happen in my life for that to happen. You know, I really don't. Something like so awful that I'd be like, all right, music is so insignificant and like, you know, small, and I can't see that ever happen.
Yeah. Well, that's good, man. I'm glad you're. You seem to be doing good.
Yeah, I do want to say that shows in this scene are not as great in terms of organization. So like what happens, I was telling Jake this earlier, is, you know, there will be 5 rappers on a bill. and then 3 DJs, right? And the DJs are there to fill in. you
Yeah.
know? And then because there's no equipment, no gear, it's if everyone is sticks to their set time, that's a pretty quick night.
Yeah.
There's no you kind of fit a few more people on the bill, but so what happens is like the first DJ will go, but then that DJ just produced a song for a rapper, so that rapper's gonna come up, and that rapper's gonna play the song, and then that rapper's cousin is gonna come up because he has a new single out, and then he's gonna play a new song, and then that rapper's cousin is in a group with 4 other people, and they're gonna play their new song, and then the second DJ goes on, and it's the same thing. So shows where there's 8 people on the bill turn into shows where there's literally 25 to 30 different people.
That sounds awful.
It's horrible. Not every show is like that, but I've played a few, and I've learned to turn down the shows that might turn into that.
Yeah.
Because they're always awesome turnouts, very high energy,
Yeah.
but it's 2:00 and you're waiting. You're standing on the side of the stage because the people in front of you won't get off. You know what I mean?
Fuck that. Do
Isn't
you
it-
like playing Wicca Face shows?
Under the right circumstance, I've liked
Yeah.
like maybe 2 or 3 shows. I'm doing one in Houston in February, and that one's gonna be good. It's with a artist named Pitcher playing, and he's not like a rapper. He's like a electronic, kind of does like Euro dance, like 90s style dance
Yeah.
music, but sings too. And that's like the type of show I want to play, like where it's just about like the performers, and it's not
Yeah.
trying to get 15 people on stage just because it looks impressive.
Right on.
You know? Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing the podcast, man.
Yeah, I hope
Appreciate it.
that
I
didn't
feel
run
like
over.
how do you feel about it?
I feel good. I feel like here's the only thing is that I feel like Ben and Brianna were very complimentary towards me in theirs, and I didn't say enough good things
You
about
can
them.
compliment them all you want.
I really do love them. When I heard Brianna's interview, I really thought I was going to start crying because she was saying the nicest stuff, and it came out of nowhere. I was listening just casually because, Brianna's my friend. I just want, and I was doing this. So I wanted to hear, just made sure I got, a good, figure out what your vibe is, when you're doing these. And then Brianna started saying very flattering things about me, and Ben did the same thing. And both times I was just hit so hard. I was like, oh, wave of emotion.
I like those people. I mean, I know both of them out of all 5 of the members of Tiger's Jaw. I know both of them better than anyone else. I mean, I've talked to you a bunch of times, but like it was always pretty brief, pretty like casual.
I remember the only conversation the only time I really remember talking to you was a few weeks ago at Loco Pez. I think it was a few months ago, and I asked you if you liked radishes. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
That was like that's like
I like them now, by the way.
Do you?
I ate some last night on a taco.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, thanks for putting me on to radishes.
Hey, thanks for putting me on your podcast.
I appreciate it, man.